Hello, my name is Sochi Foxworth, and I will be presenting on religious racism oppression and the negative effects it has on society. My presentation is entitled Religious or Not, Respect All. What is religion? According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, religion is defined in four ways, which I will address too. Number one is the state of religion, the service and worship of God or the supernatural. And number two is the commitment or devotion to religious faith or observation. What is racism? According to Tatum, racism can be defined as a system of advantage based on race. Racial inequality privileges some racial ethnic groups and disadvantages others based on socially constructed and shifting racial categories. Inequality system consists of racism through institutional, cultural, interpersonal, and individual levels. Muslims are discriminated through both racism and religious concepts. Mariam Goma, an American Muslim, was discriminated for wearing a hijab in the U.S. because her scarf was more of a social political statement than a symbol of her religion. In the YouTube video, A Conversation on Race and Education connects with religion as well. This study shows the results of which religions have a higher education than other religions, and as a diverse classroom setting, all students should be given equal opportunity to succeed in public education, hence the No Child Left Behind Act. Letitia Terone states in her article, I examine Pura Beaupre's imperative to develop and sustain culturally responsive children's library service. This article talks about breaking barriers of women of color to be able to exceed and break away from dominant social structures and normative ideologies that uphold institutions. Folklore books are important to offer in public school libraries. It teaches students about the diversity of language, religion, and stories told around the world. The school I work at is an international school, and the library offers books for students to check out in English, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, German, and Russian. The relationship of religion in connection to culture, norms, and assumptions globally is that diversity exists within any given religion as well as between different religions. Interreligious differences are often heard as blanket generalizations about faith traditions not holding true for all members, such as saying atheists think that religion is ridiculous. As stated by Marian Adams and Christopher McDonald Dennis, Protestants in the United States was historically racialized so that a theme in more recent U.S. religion's oppression is a gradual racialization of religions held by peoples of color. Protestant white settlers and landowners justified their violent actions towards Native American Indians and African race-based slavery of Christian superiority. U.S. history textbooks would emphasize the religious freedom sought by Pilgrims and Puritans fleeing from sectarian religious persecution in England and wanted to establish a safe new world haven for themselves and their co-religiousness, but what they had in mind was freedom to practice their own orthodoxies without persecution, dehumanizing Native American religious beliefs and conflicting with Roman Catholic missions competing with other Protestants. The religious right is what the political force is known as, which in the past half-century has been visibly seen as a differing coalitions of fundamentalists, Protestants, and conservative Catholics collaborating to deny the rights of women's choice for abortion, marriage equality for same-sex couples, and the use of public-funded vouchers for religious schooling. Enormous contributions to social justice movements in the Americas and Africa have been made by the Christian liberation theology. In the recent days, sanctuary has been offered to undocumented immigrants, which is a concept derived of the church as a sanctuary or safe space revitalized into an international movement by hundreds of churches, synagogues, and mosques, whole communities, and secular organizations. Christian population in the U.S. is declining. Many adults are not identifying themselves with any organized religion. The Pew Research Center has conducted a survey showing the difference between 2007 and 2014, how Christian religion followers have declined. The image shows the results of the conducted survey. Respondents' religious affiliation, also referred to as religious identity, is, for example, Catholics are defined as all respondents who claim to be Catholics. Unaffiliated or religious nones are people who are identifying themselves as atheists or their religion as nothing in particular. The image shown is a study done on other faiths and unaffiliated persons that are growing in the U.S. Generational replacement has been the cause of the growth of the nones. Much lower levels of religious affiliation, including less connection with Christian churches, is seen more with the millennial generation entering adulthood compared to the older generation. The image shown is a result of the survey done. There are many forms of oppression that can relate to religion and racism. Young's five faces of oppression are: number one, powerlessness, which is the powerless are situated so that they must take orders and rarely have the right to give them, and they rarely command respect. The second phase of religious oppression is exploitation. Young views the phase of exploitation as a steady process of the transfer of the results of the labor of one social group to benefit another. The third phase of religious oppression is marginalization, whereby entire categories of people, such as non-Protestant Christians, are restricted from meaningful involvement in the social life of the community and nation, and subject to acute economic deprivation and even annihilation. The fourth phase of religious oppression is cultural imperialism. Young states that cultural imperialism involves the universalization of a dominant group's experiences and culture and its establishment as the norm. An example is the school calendars are only scheduled around Christian holidays and celebrations in the U.S. The fifth phase of religious oppression is violence. A number of groups live constant fear of random and unprovoked systematic violence directed against them simply on account of their social identities. Violence against Muslims and Jews has escalated in the U.S. since September 11, 2001.